Greetings everyone. I know my videos are low quality and unedited and stuff like that, but it's really about information. That being said, in my last video about the Sith, I kinda forgot to go into more detail about the Sith order itself, because as I said, the Sith are a religion. Now the important thing is that you can be a Sith without being force sensitive. If you're just a believer in the religion of freedom and progress, you are a Sith. You can be a Sith. You can serve the Sith as a Sith trooper or anything, but you are a part of the religion. The Sith order, that's something different. And yes, I'm not talking about the whole Palpatine thing or any Rule of Two era, but the Sith before that. The real Sith, as some would say. And in the Sith there were many ranks, from Acolyte to Warrior to Inquisitor to Marauder and so on and so forth. And all of these different levels had different meanings. Now there's many videos on these, but the short thing that I want to add here is that a Sith can be anything and anyone, and you don't have to be a force sensitive to be a Sith. Now there is certain ranks that have certain meanings on what you specialize in. If you're a Sith Inquisitor, you're specializing more in the force. If you're a Sith Warrior, you are more inclined to go with lightsabers and martial arts. That said, a Sith Lord is a title that comes with attachments, like real attachments. With that I mean a Sith Lord is someone who rules over an area. And that's something that Palpatine and the Rule of Two kinda did away with and ignored basically, but in the original Sith Order, a Sith Lord is someone who at least rules over a planet, more commonly over a star system. So a Sith Lord has his own army, his own informants, his own structure, his own basically everything, their own science wing, their own production, their own income, their own resources. A Sith Lord is a powerful governmental title that means that you rule over an important area and you are the Lord of that area. That's a Sith Lord. And then we have the title of Darth, and Darth is a title that most people just use like that and fling around, and it's something that actually is not true for Darth Vader or Darth Palpatine or Sidious, better said, Darth Sidious, or Darth Tyrannus, or any of the Darths that you may know from the movies, because the title of Darth is actually ancient Sith language, meaning someone who conquered death or who achieved victory over death. And the title of Darth usually was only given to people who found one way to immortality, to cheat death, if you will. Darth Sion was basically too stubborn to die and willed himself back to life again and again and again and again. His body was, technically speaking, long dead, but he just refused to die. That's one way to cheat death, I guess, and that's how he became Darth Sion. You have Darth Revan, who also willed himself back to life, because he was basically too pissed off to die yet. And he willed himself back into life, which is why he is called Darth Revan. You have people like Darth Vitiate, who actually did a huge ritual that sacrificed thousands, I think even millions of lives, and added their life force to him. So while technically speaking not truly immortal, he achieved basically 1,000,000 lifetimes through that ritual, which means that he could get 100 million or 1,000,000,000 years of age, and he could just repeat the ritual. So he defeated death and was thus called Darth Vitiate. You have Darth Sash, who through the power of essence transfer, just like Darth Bane by the way, managed to put their own self, their soul, their essence, whatever you want to call it, into a different body, which means that they could, if their current body that they are inhabiting dies, they could just transfer into another body and live on as, technically speaking, the same person, just in a different body. That's one way to cheat death, which is why they were called Darth. You have people like Darth Undeadu, who, by the way, is named that very deliberately so, who was literally an undead, and zombified himself and was, for any fantasy terms, a zombie, but he was still himself. So Darth Undeadu, also immortal. You have ancient Sith that actually died, that did never retrieve the title of Darth, even though them being extremely powerful, but they never actually managed to overcome death, which is why they never were called Darth in title, even though they were much more powerful than most Darths of later ages. So the title of Darth doesn't have anything to do with power or political influence or your rank within the Sith Order. It really is about cheating death. Now, if you have found a way to cheat death, then you will be highly respected by the other Sith, because that's basically a goal that almost every Sith has. If you go with Darth Nox, who managed to do the whole spirit infusing thing, that's one way to do it. You have people who manage to bind their own spirits to a temple and thus became Darths to some degree, even though they were not truly free because their spirits were bound to the temple. But here's another interesting fact about Darths. In Lucas canon, it's said that it's impossible for Darksiders to become Force ghosts, and that's something you can only achieve by giving yourself to the Force willingly. Now, ironically, in canon we see that isn't really true, because first of all, if you truly give yourself fully to the Force, you stop existing. You're not retaining yourself. And we have many Jedi Force ghosts that are just echoes of them in the Force, not the actual real deal. More like a holocron, if you will. Then you have many Sith Lords who actually roam through the galaxy as ghosts. You have Exar Kun, who is a Force ghost and a Sith Lord. You have Marka Ragnos, you have Tula Kord, you have many of the ancient Sith in special, much fewer later on, but that also happens. See the MMO Old Republic with Darth Nox and their way to power, how many Sith Force ghosts they have and enslave. Like Kalik as example, they are legit Sith Force ghosts, and what's more important, these people manage to become Force ghosts that are not only truly themselves, but they are much more powerful than Jedi Force ghosts, because Jedi Force ghosts can't interact with the physical world. Sith Force ghosts can interact with the physical world and can unleash their powers, their Force powers on the living. They absolutely can possess the living and inhabit the living and basically do all the cool shit that some ghosts do, like going through walls and then possessing people. So Sith Force ghosts do exist, and they are super powerful, much more so than their Jedi counterparts, which I would deem another way of, technically speaking, becoming immortal, which is why I would call Kalik Darth Kalik, because he managed to exist as a Force ghost thousands of years after he died. So that's something. We have Sith that become millennia old. We have one Sith that managed to live through the ancient, the Old Republic and the New Republic era and encounters Luke. So that's like a 10,000-year-old Sith right there. These things exist. They are just unknown to most people. With that said, the Sith are really cool, and they have much to tell, and they are much more than most people give them credit for. Same for the Jedi, by the way. They have a lot of in-depth lore that most people simply don't know about, which is really sad, because most of the coolest characters are Jedi from eras that people don't know. I think Bastille Shawn and Satil are both fantastic, strong female characters, and I know some will roll their eyes, but they truly are. They are not Mary Race, let's say. They're nothing like that. They are actually having an arc and an evolution, and they are really cool people. And you have many cool Jedi in the Old Republic era, and just so many cool characters in other media. So from that point of view, I really hope that you explore the galaxy far away and have fun, a great day, and may the Force be with you.